Octavia, because sometimes I forget to introduce myself, but I am Pastor Octavia, and I'm a pastor of Global Evangelistic Ministries here in Cleveland, Ohio. So, but anyway, moving past the formal, so you know who I am. Because it's only a half an hour show, so I only got like a couple of minutes before before I really get into this. I have three hot topics on tonight, preferably two hot topics, but one I think I'm gonna take off my page that someone I just saw that someone submitted, so I may just go on my page and get that one. But I normally choose three. Every other Tuesday I'm on at 5:30, but I normally choose three of the most top questions that are being asked. If they sound repetitive sometimes, don't look at them as repetitive, because not everybody watches the show. And so I try to answer the most common questions that everybody is asking, or similar to that question or anything like that. So I try to choose three, unless I'm inspired by God or inspired by something to have just one set topic. But normally it's always three topics that I do try to talk about, topics of questions, concerns, or just topics of discussions, or try to answer it. And this is what I always say on my show: I answer these questions surfacely. I don't really get into in-depth teachings or studyings when I'm answering these questions, because it's only a half an hour show. If it was an hour show, that would be something totally different. But because this is a half an hour show, and I really try to answer, everybody's questions, and I want to give time. I only got 30 minutes, so I try to give 10 minutes a piece on each question, possibly. So they're just surface. There's some of them, a lot of them is just surface answers. So what I like to say is, we can always agree to disagree. You don't have to agree with what I say. There's a lot of beliefs and different things out there. Whatever works for you. But I just try to answer the questions or concerns or topics of discussions the best way that I know how, or that I'm inspired to answer them. But I do say, take what I say or whatever you think, and do your own study, do your own in-depth study, search the scripture, search the word, do whatever. And also too, I like to also say too, I love this show because I really purpose, as a pastor, I'm a leader and I'm a pastor. I try to purpose it so much so that it's not so much theological, because sometimes, we can have all this theology, but yet we're still stuck. You know what I'm saying? And then sometimes, issues and different things and life issues that are going on, sometimes the answer is just a practical answer. Sometimes it's just simple of saying no. Sometimes it's just a simple of don't do that. Sometimes it's just simple of just managing your behavior. And we can talk theology all day, but sometimes it's just decisions that we just simply just need to make. So I don't do a lot of all of that. I just want to be a person that just talks and just, just having just have a conversation. Let's just talk and just have a conversation. And sometimes, theology is good, but sometimes it can push people away too. And it could cause people to shut down because they know you're just going to come from a religious point of view. People just want to hear, although the word of God is the truth. But when people say, listen, just tell me the truth, they're not all the time meaning, okay, just tell me what the Bible says. No, just tell me what it is. And sometimes us telling people what it is just simple, practical conversation. Okay. So I've already spent 5 minutes of that. So I just want to just say that we agree to disagree, whatever. I'm not hurt. Please don't. I'm not hurt. I'm not offended. And don't you be hurt and don't you be offended. Okay. All right. Let's get right into it. And I'm so happy that I can talk. And I want to say something too. Okay, I'm going to do just 1 minute advertisement. Y'all love my jewelry? A lot of the jewelry that I wear is paparazzi. I want to say that. Ladies, because you be asking me, it is paparazzi. I want to give a shout out to my cousin, Frederica Richardson. She's a paparazzi consultant or whatever, but her name is Frederica Richardson on Facebook, and also to my cousin Connie Lynn Richardson too. She does paparazzi too, but I know someone asked me about my jewelry. So a lot of my jewelry that you will see me on here will be paparazzi. And you know, I always wear this bracelet because I have to have bling in my life. I am a blinger, a serious blinger, and a lady has to have a bling. She got to shine now. She got to shine. So I like shining. But anyway, let's get into our tacos. But anyway, paparazzi. Shut out. Okay. Our first question or topic or concern was, what are some ways that me and my husband can really share our feelings without arguing? You know, I came up with 4 different kind of ways, but to be totally honest, remember I said, just tell me the truth. You can do this without arguing, but you know, because you're 2 different people, you know, look forward to sometimes agreeing to disagree. It's okay. It is okay to agree to disagree sometimes. It's okay to not always, you know, you're not always going to agree with each other say, and it's okay. Don't try to be so offended or hurt by it. You're 2 different people. He's coming from a male perspective. You're coming from a female perspective. Although you both need to be coming from one perspective because in marriage, you know, you're a team. It's not an I in team. So you're both basically a team. So you're really looking for each other to agree. But sometimes you don't agree, and it's okay. You know, and it's even okay to be upset. You know, if you don't agree, but try to get over that real quick. Don't wear your feelings on your shoulder, anything like that. That's what I learned in 25 years of marriage. Okay. What are some ways that me and my husband can really share feelings without arguing? Okay. I got 4 things here that I came up with that possibly can help you, but you take it and add on whatever works for you. 1, to be successful at sharing your feelings, you need to be open. Be open. That's probably where your arguments is coming in at, because you're too honest. You're probably being too honest, and you probably need to pull the reins back, you know, just a little bit. You know, don't come into the ring with boxing gloves. Maybe that's, you know, you coming in there with boxing gloves, so maybe you just need to, okay. But anyway, to be open, honest, willing to make time for each other, and be receptive. You know, you may not like to hear what each other is saying, you know, whatever is being said. You may not like to hear it, but the thing is, just be receptive in your hearing. You may not receive what they are saying at the moment, but at least be respectful and be receptive. At least allow your hearing to be receptive, and, you know, each other being heard, and take time to hear. I remember one time, me and my husband, we had a bad one time in the beginning of our marriage, you know, before we did the counseling. Oh my God, we overtalked each other. We just, you know, whatever. So I came up with this thing, the ruling stick. It was a ruling stick. And so whoever had the stick was the one. Now, y'all know, as a woman, I had an issue with that, because I sometimes never wanted to give up my stick when it was time for him to get the stick. You know, I had a hard time, and I'm not finished, you know, so I held the stick longer than what he would. So you got to make boundaries for that too. How long can you hold a talking stick? Okay, I needed that. But anyway, we came up with this idea of a talking stick, that whoever had the stick was the one that had the floor and talk. Now, in the beginning, like I said, it was a struggle, because I at one time I came with it was 2 sticks. I came with my own, you know, when there only supposed to be 1. But I came in with my own. Of course, you know, that didn't go over well with my husband. So we went back to 1 talking stick. So anyway, so come up with something. You have to be inventive. You have to come up with something to try to bring the peace, even though you don't feel peaceful. So that was something that I came up, and it did good. So be receptive. Everything is not personally about you when you are sharing your feelings. Everything is not about you, person. Don't take everything so personally, because the person you're really just discussing about yourself. Although you may be a part of the problem, but at the end of the day, the root of the problem is what you or him are going through personally yourself. You understand what I'm saying? So don't take it so personally. It's not personally about you, although it's affecting you, but it's about your spouse processing through how they feel. Okay, next, that was number one. Number two, be sure not to reject their feelings. Hear it, because sometimes, you will hear each other talk, but listen, a sentence can be 6 words, but that third word you heard in them 6 words, you didn't even hear the other 3. That shut you down right there. You shut down after you heard the third word, the third word. So be sure not to reject their feelings. Hear everything. Hear all 6 of the words. Although you may not have a clue, although you may not have a clue to how these feelings may temporarily make no sense, remember it's their feelings, not yours. Because there has been times, I'm expressing myself and my husband is like just sitting there. Now, one thing you have to remember about men, they're not as emotional. They can be emotional, but they're not as emotional. Men are more direct, and they're more, my husband, he was like more to the point, where I'm like, I'm just A, B, C, D, and E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, Z. My husband, topics of conversation was A. It's 26 letters in the alphabet, right? So my husband's conversation was A, and whatever the middle letter was, and Z. You understand what I'm saying? It was only 3 points, A and whatever the middle letter was, and Z. And sometimes he didn't even do the middle letter because he just wanted to, he just got to the point. But I was like all in between. So sometimes he would just sit there and just look at me like, or I'll say all of this and explain myself, and he'll say, I don't understand. What are you talking about? What do you mean you don't know what I'm talking about? What? I just sat here and I just explained I just shared my, so even though it don't make no sense, be willing to just listen, because a lot of times women, we are so emotional. We are all over the place, but we can be direct. We know what we're talking about. Don't you worry about it as husbands. We know what we're saying. You just have to, find out what we're saying, okay? So remember, no matter, even it could be vice versa, because sometimes my husband has explained himself and I'm like, honey, I have no clue. If I had, I still wouldn't even know how to use the clues of what you're talking about. So anyway, if it don't make no sense, be willing to hear. And because when you reject their feelings, I put this down, when you reject their feelings, you're rejecting them. They don't see it that you're rejecting how they feel. They see it, husband and wife see it as you're rejecting them. Okay, you can't accept my feelings, then you can't accept me. And then that's a whole nother argument. Oh my God, is that a whole nother argument? Been there and done that. Okay, so don't put what I put on here. I say, so don't put them on your head. So don't pat them. And so don't pat them on their heads, their backs, or tell them how they should feel. Allow it to let them each other organically feel, express your feelings. Work with them as much as you reasonably can, as much as you can stand it, just listen. Okay, number 3, time goes so fast, doesn't it? Number 3 is make sure you're using time to sharing what's really going on and not wasting time talking about the moment, meaning talking surface talk. Use your time wisely when you're sharing your feelings. Really get to the meat of the matter. You understand what I'm saying? Don't be wasting your time talking about bugs and all of that stuff, and crazy stuff when that's not even an issue. When the real issue is you're having a problem with bugs because you're allergic to them. Okay, let's talk about the allergy of bugs. bugs. Let's not just sit and just talk about bugs, okay? So, so don't waste time talking about the moment, the surface stuff, because one thing is for certain. I put anger comes from somewhere. So there is a root to why there's a root to your emotions. The root can be hurt, rejection, disappointment, fears, embarrassments, to all kinds of types of disagreements. So make sure that the time is well spent on, listen to this. Make sure the time is well spent on conversating and not confrontating, because the moment will send you into confrontation and not conversation. You understand what I'm saying? So make sure you're conversating. This is a conversation, and we're not confrontating, because when you're confrontating, you don't hear each other. You just talking about the moment, and that's it. You're just talking about the heat. That's all you're talking about. You're not talking about the sun. You're just talking about the heat. Okay. So that's some of the ways that you can share your feelings without arguing. And the fourth one, the last one, is understand that marriage is an emotional relationship and is not an intellectual one. Oh my God, it's not intellectual. All that thinking and all that stuff, It's an emotional relationship. A relationship deals with the matters of a heart, deals with the matters of the heart, not with what's going on in our heads. Although what's going on in our hearts can be an extension of what's going on in our heads. It's not an intellectual relationship. It's a matter of the heart. Relationships are forged together by what's going on in the heart, going on in the spirit. So it's a very emotional union, you don't connect intellectually. You understand what I'm saying? Okay. So recognize the difference between when you're just conveying a thought and when you're conveying a feeling. It makes a world of difference in a conversation. You know the basis of a conversation. If we're just talking about what you're thinking, or if you guys are talking about what you're feeling. So I hope that helped out a little bit for you. Okay. Okay, next question is, I'm going to take this off my Facebook, because I just seen this. This is by someone that's been, how do you manage a blended family? Wow. And in this time, there's a lot, and in this day and age, there's a whole lot of blended families. I think blended families is more on the rise than people getting married and having children together. People are coming into the marriage with, I know I came into the marriage with a child. My first daughter, she was 5 years old, so I came into the marriage, with a child, but it wasn't blended because he didn't have no children, but I did. So how to manage a blended family when you're having issues with your spouse's ex who's trying to mess up your marriage and your relationship with the kids. Wow. Well, the number one thing is, that's great. If this is how this is, what it is on the Facebook, you recognize what is going on. You recognize the warfare. You recognize what is seriously going on. You recognize her position. You recognize what she's trying to do. You recognize the sabotage, that you feel that she is trying to do. You said also too with the kids, her trying to sabotage your relationship with the children. And it's not just with the children that she's trying to sabotage. She seems like she's trying to sabotage the kids with your relationship, sabotage your relationship with your husband, just sabotaging the family, your family unit. Period. Now, when it comes to that part, that's serious. That with like any other relationship, that goes back to communication. You know what I'm saying? That goes back to a sit down. That goes back to really having that conversation. That goes back to, look, listen, we're not pulling no punches here, because based on what you're saying, the sabotage, I just hear sabotage. And if she's trying to sabotage, okay, we're not, all bets are off the table. Listen, I know what you're trying to do, and you have to sit down and you have to communicate. It's time for communication. And if they're beyond the point of communicating, then it's time to make serious decisions. I don't know how old the children are, because sometimes if the children are old enough, then you can make really serious decisions of whether to disconnect or whether to forbid or whether to not have no relationship or whatever. But if they're younger children, it's really hard to make that decision because the younger children are still tied. The younger is still tied to that parent or something like that, or still tied to both of the parents. So it's hard to make that decision. But I would say, you have to have that talk, and you have to sit down and also try to, if you see that you guys are not able to, consider family counseling. I always throw counseling in there because counseling brings in such a taboo. I don't know why counseling is such a taboo to people. I don't know why. It's not a taboo. I told you before, me and my husband, we did it one time, and nothing was even wrong. It was just something that I think what I said, the 20 year mark or something like that, 15 or 20 year mark. It was just something that we just say, hey, look, okay, let's sit down and talk, see where we're at. Because sometimes in the course of a relationship, in the course of a marriage, you can live your life so much, or you can go, businesses, children, different things, going, coming, and everything like that, till you can forget sometime, you can forget the relation, you can forget the marriage or the relationship or something like that. So I would say also too, consider sitting down, talking to a family counselor, somebody, a medium, somebody that is able to successfully guide the conversation to where you guys are not over talking. Okay, maybe she's still in love with the spouse. I don't know. Okay, and then maybe you and her, the females, she don't like you, or if it's a dislike with each other. Somehow, some way, you have to just have that conversation, and you just have to have that communication, and you really have to talk. So my suggestion is, in a case like this, where it's really serious, I would consider family counseling, because especially if you've already talked and you talk, and you don't see no results, I would consider family counseling if they are willing. Now, if they're not willing to do that, you have to really make some serious decisions on what to really do and how to really handle that, okay? Okay, next I'm going to do my third one on here, and I'm going to close with this one, and this is real short and real simple. Okay, I really had, that one came in, I really had two. I really had the one, my husband thinks that I share too much about our marriage with my family. Or I had, is it okay to be friends with my ex? I think I'm going to do that one, is it okay to be friends with my ex? Is it okay to be friends with my ex? Well, let's view this. I don't know. I really don't know, because I really don't know all of the details of why you're asking this question. I don't know if there's insecurities involved. I don't know. Do you feel like something may transpire with you or him having a relationship with the ex? And I can tell you from personal experience, I'm my husband's second wife, and he was married before, back home in New Jersey. And I can tell you honestly, I did used to feel some type of way when my husband would be friends, because he was friends with his ex-wife. They were friends, and everything like that. And he knew her way before he knew me. But that wasn't the point. Yeah, you got to understand a woman's mind. That ain't the point. I don't care how long you knew her. That's not the point. Okay, I don't care if you grew up together. That's not the point. The point is, why y'all still friends? Although it's innocent, although it can be innocent, although it's nothing can happen, the point is why you be friends. So at one point, I did used to feel some kind of way, and I would ask him, like, honey, babe, we're married, and, that makes me feel some kind of way that, you're still, now they didn't talk on the phone or anything like that, but because, New Jersey was so, it's our community of friends, and we all knew each other. And check this out, when we got married, guess what? We all was going to the same church together. oh my God, how, whatever, now all what I'm doing now is expressing myself. I don't know how she felt, but I know how I felt. And I know when service was over, because I knew they had a friendship, it's time to go. Hi on the way out. Hi on the way out. Talk. Yep. Wave hand on the way out. You don't have to, I was like, you don't have to stop and talk to you, but then I got better. And let me say this, it wasn't even a jealousy. It was just the fact of that. I think I was more so in the moment of, I don't think that look right. You think that look right? You married and you talking to your ex, you talking to your former wife. I don't think that was, so in the beginning we had a lot. But anyway, as time went on, it gotten better, because guess what? Guess what I did to help myself? I got more involved. And guess what? We became friends. We became friends, because guess what? A sister was going to be up on what was going on. So we became friends. So instead of me acting all kooky and crazy, so I just involved myself, because in the beginning, I excommunicated myself. So I got myself together. And I say, hey, because it was causing an issue with him also too, which I didn't understand why it was an issue with him. I didn't understand that. But see, my lips, they're better today. They've got better after time. So I involved myself with her, and I involved myself, and it turned out to be beautiful and everything like that. So come to find out, I didn't have anything to worry about, because does she still love him? Or women go through a lot in their mind. Men just be like, my husband used to be like, well, she spoke and I spoke. I mean, I just said hi. No. Men is like that. Well, I don't know. All I said was just hi. No. A high can be, women, we just go there. Like, no, ain't no highs, ain't no, buys, and everything. But anyway, it got better. So what I would say is it okay to, with your friend, talk that over with your spouse? Because I only got like 3 minutes. Talk it over. Okay, let's close this up. Talk it over with your spouse. Both of you guys talk it over. If there's no insecurity or jealousies or anything like that, I think it's perfectly okay. But just as long as you know boundaries, limitations, and different things like that. But have that communication and have that talk. You know what I'm saying? Don't deny how you feel, ladies, and don't deny how you feel, men. Because if the shoe was on the other foot and Saint John was coming around, how would you feel? Okay, so have that conversation, with each other and everything like that. So, but anyway, that's the end of that. I pray that you got something. I pray that I was able to answer something. But like I say, we agree to disagree. Take the answers home and answer them yourself. Okay, so what I want to do is say thank you for joining me in the Marital Toolbox. I had fun this evening. I hope you did. And once again, paparazzi. Okay, thank you for joining me. God bless. Bye-bye.